Richard Fowler, King of Main Beach, just finished your last brekkie show in the last like 10-15 minutes. How are the emotions? How are you feeling?
Mixed emotions. It's sort of odd. This morning I just sort of, wow, that 3 hours just went like that. And at some point I was going, where are we up to? I didn't know what time it is. What's that song we've just been playing? I think, hang on, step back. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Normally you can go for a wee whenever you like.
Yes.
Yeah. Another difference.
Yes, you're dead right. Look, it's really interesting. 22 years, and so much has happened in that 22 years. Not only to me, not only to the listeners, but also to the Gold Coast and Tweed in general. You know, the skyline has changed so much.
Absolutely. And do you remember your first day on the job?
Yes, I do. It was the long weekend. I started because I've lived here on the Gold Coast and Tweed on and off 3 times. I've been here since 1981 when I shifted up from Sydney. And I've been, I remember it was 1994, and I was doing the breakfast show with Sarah Warmby, who I had never really met. And I remember the day well. I remember the year well, that's for sure.
If you could go back in time to your first day, knowing what you know now, what piece of advice would you give?
I'd get lost going to work for a start because all the landmarks would be completely different.
Right. Okay.
And what's the one piece of advice I could give to people? Be yourself.
And
simple as that.
What time have you been getting up in the morning for the last
3 a.m.
3 a.m. So you're not going to miss that.
And people think, oh, you don't get up at 3 a.m. People think we start on the radio when their alarm clock goes off at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
And they think we go home at 8:30, 9 o'clock when their radio goes off or when we come off air, which is not the case. We do 3 a.m.
Do you ever have any close calls with the alarm?
Oh, any close calls? Plenty. Not too many, actually. I remember once getting a phone call from Bruge saying, where are you? And it was 20 to 5. And I'd slept through 2 alarms.
And in your 22 years, has there been any guests that really stood out as favourites to you?
Plenty. You know what? And it's interesting because some guests stand out because they're absolutely fantastic, and others like Brett Eklund stand out because they're absolutely useless. Rod Stewart is a great interview we've had, and the Madden Brothers more recently. They're fantastic. And we rang them just recently in the States, and they went, oh yeah, Richard's fine. How you guys going? Right. You know, and they were asking us questions about stuff we'd told them about a year ago in an interview. Oh, how did such and such go? Oh, you remember? Yeah, we remember you guys because you were fun. Make them feel at home. Don't be up yourself and just relate to them. You know, sometimes famous people actually enjoy talking about silly things like their favourite TV show or the TV show they hate. They don't necessarily want to go through about all the gossip and all the bad stuff. You know, they just want to relax, you know.
Good advice for any aspiring radio people there.
Definitely. And things like, you know, who's your favourite friend and who from school are you still, you know, friends with, and they love stuff like that, you know. It's been fantastic. I think I've got to know so many of our listeners over the years, and the thing I remember more about listeners than anything else is being in some of the most unusual places in the world and having people come up and go, oh, g'day Richard, how you going? That the people that you get to know, or they know you, and they just come up and say, oh, g'day Richard, how are you? When are you back on the radio? What the hell are you doing here? Oh, we're just doing a tour around the country. I love that. I think it's fantastic.
Thank you very much, Richard. Cheers.
Pleasure.